everyone, and welcome back. So I did some thinking in between episodes, and I decided to actually at least want the recyclers running off of medium voltage. Before I put these guys down, I want to get a good idea of where my other junk is upstairs. So I had an idea between episodes, and it requires me to do a bit of rewiring. Specifically, this chest right here. I need to move these tubes, because I want to use the bottom for something else. So I'm going to instead run these tubes up the back, like so. You can hide this by throwing one of these hollow covers on that. See? Can't even see it now. So the cobble gen could still put into that chest. Now I'm free to run other pipes on here. Now these guys are going to go right here. 1, 2 recyclers. Not hooked up to the power yet, although there is no energy in the unit, so it's fine. I'm going to put a transformer upgrade in each of these guys, so that they could successfully and safely run on medium voltage here. Now, when the system gets power, they'll receive medium voltage. So there is no advanced machine version of the recycler, so if you want it to go faster, you've got to use upgrades. Speaking of upgrades, I actually do want to upgrade those machines. I'm going to need 6 overclocker upgrades, 3 for each machine. While I'm at it, I got myself a provider and 2 supplier logistics pipes. So I got my upgrades. That took a while though, actually, and I had to go down there and I found that some of the water cells had overflowed from the extractor. I actually figured out why it's doing that, but I'll fix it later. I'm going to need the pipe and cobble to the top of these guys. So for this, I'm going to make a mini logistics network. So I'll have to keep about 48 cobble in both these recyclers. Now I just need to put provider logistics pipe on here. Connect these and boom, here comes the cobble. They'll just sit around in there. And now to divvy the upgrades. 3 for you and 3 for you. This will enable them to work very quickly for of course the cost of a bit more energy use. I believe they only use about 1 energy unit per tick normally, but now they're going to use about 4, if I remember correctly. Now of course, we can't just let all this junk build up, so we're going to have to pipe it out. I've placed down a diamond chest here that the scrap should go into. So I just need one more component, but when I went to request it, here it is, the battery, it says I'm missing 2 redstone. Apparently I don't have any left. That's not quite correct. I have 48 crates of it, so I'll be taking some of those. Just when you think you'll never be using it up, and then you just do. Just let those sort and get into the system. There we go, 400 some redstone. So we'll be taking that battery now, and charging it up fully. Now what do you need a battery for, you ask? Actually, I'm going to need it for that machine I made. This Fusion Reactor, which I will now be placing down, right next to the MFSU here. This guy has a complicated UI. Look at that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 slots. Ooh, good lord. Well, this is a bit complicated, and, uses all these various special heating units that are, frankly, a bit above my pay grade. But I know one thing, that the heating systems go right in here, and you could technically put all of one type in there if you want, but I'm told that if you use all 3 different types, it's more efficient and just better somehow. So, I'm not exactly certain on what they do, but you just gotta jam them in there for it to work. And you can put a battery in here, in this slot right here, and it will actually take the charge and then put it back in real quick. But so it just needs a little bit of energy to start. It's interesting. And this slot right here is a very important one. You can either put these superconducting coils, which are superconducting expensive, alright? That's just ridiculous. Or you can put in copper coils, which are much less expensive because they only take 1 full stack of copper. But, you don't get as much energy out of it, actually. So, this is the most efficient and useful way to use this. Okay, now this thing is going to start going when I put 2 deuterium in this area here. So as soon as I put 1 here and 1 here, it'll use up 1 in each slot. It'll start taking the energy out of here, building up heat, apparently thanks to these things. And then, before it starts outputting energy, see it's not yet, it'll actually recharge the battery real quick. Notice we're starting to get some serious EU in here. And these recyclers are going. producing some scrap, and these red power filters are actually pulling them out. And they're not pulling them out quickly, actually. I put this timer on 20 seconds, alright? Because, you know, it can pull an entire stack, and it's not going to take it long enough that it'll build up. And you can see this system here of logistics pipes. It's yoinking out the cobblestone with a pretty mad frequency, alright? So I'm going to have to turn Jenny on over here, you know, CobbleGen, if I want to keep this going. But, you know, there's a junction over here for these supplier pipes, which are not hooked up with anything yet. But, you know, I figured I'd just go ahead and lay the framework there for later. And, you know, I moved the stuff around here, the medium voltage converter here, going to these guys, and the low voltage converter over here that isn't running anything yet, but I figured I'd put it down here in case I want to move some isotopic separators down here, you know, up in that room. So here's the red power tube. It comes up over here, and it deposits all of that scrap, all that junk into this chest right here. So, oh, look at that, 44. I'm getting some decent scrap already. That's quite awesome. So anyway, diamond chest here. It's got a provider pipe on it. Comes right over to here, to a supplier pipe that is not attached to anything yet. Alright, so don't worry about it yet, but I'll get something on there eventually. Now this fusion reactor, you can see this here, it's slowly decreasing right in the middle, this little circular red thing. Once it gets down to the bottom, it's finished its cycle, and it'll attempt to take 2 additional deuterium. But there's actually something better I can use, other than just straight deuterium. And I'd like to get started on making that. But first I definitely need to turn on my CobbleGen. There we go. There's no way that thing's gonna have enough cobble there if I don't. So this thing's, you know, it's pumping out cobble. It's working in all its glory, and I can see it because of all the glass here. Now, you may or may not have noticed, but the glass looks a bit different than when it used to. Any glass, actually, because I enabled a feature of Optifine called Connected Textures, and glass is one of the textures that actually has a different texture when it's connected to another block of the same type. So that's pretty nice looking. Another one being bookshelves. You can see the subtle differences on the side, you know, it ends differently, but here it just kind of looks like it goes on and on. It's a nice feature, I like it. Anyway, I gotta be honest, I'm getting a little tired of making supplier pipes, so I'm just gonna tell the system how to do it. Now, I have a significant amount of clay in my inventory right now, because one thing you could do with clay is you can extract it into lithium. What? Lithium? That doesn't make much sense. Well, it kinda does. But who cares? It's Minecraft. It's not rocket science. Well, actually it is, but, you know, it's not real rocket science. It's like Minecraft rocket science, which is probably made up for the most part. Anyway, just gonna set this system up so that it can produce lithium from clay. Oh, I did it again. By the way, don't ever sort your inventory when you're looking at one of these crafting pipes, because it takes all the stuff off your hotbar for some reason. Input clay, output lithium. And then I just have to tell this guy right here that he is to accept clay. And this all should work. So if you take lithium, put it inside an empty cell, you get a lithium cell. So I want my system to know that. Alright, now I made another isotopic separator, and I'm going to take this one. I guess I don't need this area anymore, so just close it up. Now I'm going to want to put these separators in this room. I'm going to put them in this corner, right next to each other. And I'm going to need to power these guys with low voltage current. And there they go. Nice low voltage, everybody's happy. Now I've got 2 isotopic separators over here in the corner. That's great. This guy's pumping out a decent amount of energy. Now, if you were curious, I'm going to take the EU reader and read this thing. It's putting out exactly 32 EU per tick. So the equivalent of 32 solar panels. Down in my basement's basement. Down in the UCB. Isn't that a song too? Down in the UCB. Down in the UCB. Building crap in my UCB, taking damage in the UCB. Yeah, that was a song back when, it just didn't catch on. Anyway, 32 EU per tick for this. This is pretty good, but there's a way to make it better. And one thing is the lithium cells are part of it. So let's do something here. I got myself 2 supplier logistics pipes. So this one on the left, I'm going to tell it, you should keep some water cells stocked. Maybe about 10 of them at all times. And this one, lithium cells. I'm going to tell this one also 10 at all times. Now all that's left to do for this part is to connect this to the network, which should be pretty easy. I've got a teleport pipe right up here. So I just need to run this pipe down here, covered up with bricks. It's not bad looking. So as soon as I connect this, it should start requesting those, and therefore start working on these. And you can see it's provided it with water cells, and therefore it is starting the extraction process. And this one just got its first few lithium cells. They're coming along here. And as you can see, unfortunately, it takes significantly longer, twice as long actually. It'll actually take 20 of these cells instead of 10. But you will get 19 of them back. It's just anfortunately, it does take 5 full blocks of clay. So now over here we have a nice system that it will be able to supply us with the deuterium. Now the only problem is, yes, you can extract the product. Unfortunately, you cannot extract the empty cells. So I'm gonna have to take these out manually, and if I don't, then this thing will just stop working briefly. So, it shouldn't be a big problem though, because that's kind of like a on-demand system. So if I want it to stop working, I can just leave the empty cells in there. Oh, here we go, our first lithium 6 cell. This is beautiful. I'm gonna take it, and I am gonna show you what this is for. Check it out. If you put 2 deuterium here, and you put the lithium 6 cell up here, and after it heats up, it'll start going like normal, outputting its 32 EU per tick, but this tritium bread percentage will go up here, and by the end of the cycle, you'll have something called tritium. Now, what it'll do is it'll automatically place it in this slot. If you put your deuterium like this, it'll actually stack deuterium right up here, and then it'll put it down here. And since it'll just have reached the end of its cycle, it'll actually use the tritium, and it'll start a new cycle, using deuterium / tritium. And that cycle is better. It produces more energy. I'll show you how much in a bit. But the key here is I want to supply lithium 6 cells here, if I can. So clay may become a very important resource to me. And this thing's nice, it's getting up 600,000 EU, that's nice, because both of these machines use, I believe, 5 EU per tick. Yeah, see, about 5. So that's a good 10 EU if they're running. But at the same time, these resources they're making are pretty important for me. And of course, these scrap machines down here are using, like I said, about 4 EU per tick. So when you subtract the amount the machines are taking and the amount this thing is getting, I'm getting about 14 EU bonus. So I'm using about, 60 or so % of it. But then again, now this isn't running because the empty cells are built up, and I don't really need those running all the time. Just make sure I have at least a few lithium 6 cells up here. Actually, I'm going to take these empty cells and of course return them to the system from whence they came. Now see, this cycle and this tritium bread are at roughly the same percentage. If you keep this breeding tritium for you while this is running, eventually you'll actually get additional tritium just because there's a few percentage discrepancy. And plus, if you decided that you just wanted some extra tritium, you can just keep putting, deuterium in both of these and taking out the tritium and using it for other things. There is another use for it, but it's not very safe or, ecologically friendly. Down in the UCB. Oh, here we go. The tritium bread. It bred one. Check it out. Look at that. I got one. I got tritium. I got tritium. I got tritium. Hey. Or is it tritium? Okay, so let's just put this in there. Oh, it just got used. Check it out. See that it had 5% extra. Alright, so here, let's read the energy now. Ooh, 128 EU per tick. Ooh. That's a lot. You can see if you left click on it, you get a bunch of jibber jabber. It just shows up there with all the fuel and storage crap. But anyway, I really like this thing. It's pretty sweet. So as long as I keep plenty of deuterium and lithium-6 cells in here, I'm going to be outputting, this thing will fill up pretty darn quickly. So, if this thing gets up relatively high, I've got another machine for it. So this is great. I mean, looking at all this junk down here, I believe I am ready to seal this room up. Just climb out and, throw a piece of marble there. Now, I've got a little bit of time left, here that I'm gonna make one more object. I'm gonna pretty much finish off that room for now, make the final object. Here it is. If you're a fan of industrial craft, you probably know what I'm about to do. Glowstone, advanced machine blocks, advanced circuits, and a Lapotron crystal will get you the mass fabricator. Da-na-na-na-na. Yay! So I'm just gonna put this Mamma Jamma right next to the MFSU thing with about 2 million in it, and it's not gonna work there. I've got the perfect idea. Yes. First, I've got to get out. Whoa, dude! I thought it was gonna burst in, but it's just kind of. That's cool. I've seen that before. It shouldn't be so surprising. So actually, I decided I want to put it over here. Now, that means I need the bottom slot for something else, and oh, that's so cool! That is so cool! Swimming, walking, swimming, walking. That is so cool. I'm in some sort of... Oh no! I'm half drowning. That is so weird. I don't like this. This shouldn't be. This is contrary. Whee! It's also very fun. Okay, well, this is just weird. Drowning, breathing. Drowning, breathing. Yeah, I don't know what this is. This is weird. And I kind of want to leave it as is. It's just so beautiful. So what if I break this one? Oh, that lets it in. That lets it in. Ah, you broke a torch. How dare you, torch breaker. Oh, good lord. I just checked out the cobble gen. This thing is giving much more than it needs. I'm gonna turn it off for a bit and request more cables. I'm actually getting kind of low on diamonds. I only have these 2 blocks of diamonds that I can access. And then I'm gonna have to go into, like, my machines and, like, bust into them to get them. I don't like that. So, I'm gonna go mining in between episodes, alright? Oh, look, a weird air pocket. Oh, good lord, why am I not wearing my amulet of not suffocationness? Whee! Whee! Oh, that's just wrong. Whee! 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 Oh, good lord. Should you be wearing a jetpack in the water? I don't think that's a good idea. Yeah, this is a bad idea too. I don't know if the mechanics of water are like that it's gonna do something bad to it. I don't know about that. I'm relatively certain it's not programmed in there, but on the off chance, should I really be tempting my fate here? Well, that's just awkward. I'm stuck. At least that looks a little bit better. And I had that one cable mystically repelling the water there in a perfectly square area. Just like real life. Ask any electrician, it's not dangerous to put cables in water. It just repels it mystically in a, in a small square. Or you die of electrocution. It's gotta be one of those. This should now be high voltage. And oh, look at all the scrap I've got. That's sick. Okay, so I'm just gonna take a stack of that and tell this to keep it stack of scrap stocked, alright? Which it shouldn't do it until it has an inventory. Alright, now, without further ado, let's put this down. Oh, look at it go! Look at it go! It's getting scrap from this, that it's, the pipes. It's doing it so fast I can't tell. Never had the chest right next to it like that before. Just 2 pipes secluded like that. That's pretty cool. Anyways, this thing's keeping it, scrap jammed in the bottom, which the mass fabricator works faster when you jam scrap in the bottom slot there. So, you gotta get your recyclers going first. But this thing, it produces this a lot faster. Otherwise, it's like 1, 2, 3, so that was like... So that's great. But also, dude, you want to watch this, because check this out. EU reader here. It's using 512 EU per tick. Oh, good lord. Turn it off. Turn it off. Turn it off. Turn it off. How do you turn it off? I don't know. Just throw a lever on the side. I don't have time for this. Crap. It's killing it. Oh, look at that. It used up. I don't know how much it used up. It's using it up 4 times faster than it can make it. So that's something to think about. But hey, this thing's already got 3 million in here, right? I mean, that's more than I've ever had in one place. In this Let's Play, anyway. I'm gonna need more clay for sure, but I mean, I'm really, really happy with this little isotopic separator supplier thing I have over here, you know? I can just, you know, pull out the empty cells and it'll give me more. Oh, you know what? I need an easier way to get the empty cells back into the system. A small addendum. Logistics chassis on this guy. Polymorphic item sync and provider. Leave 1 item. I want to put all my empty cells in you, and I'm going to go check the system for other empty cells. Alright, so this is the only chest that has them at the moment, it seems. So that's nice. I've just got this junk in here, so I can just throw my empty cells in here and say, hey, you know, you guys keep working. And don't waste any cells, you know, that's about as many as should hang around. So make sure to grab from there first. Except for now there's like 2.5 stacks. That's a lot of empty cells. It's ridiculous. That is ugly on the side of that. I put it up there. Yeah, that's a bit better. Tons of scrap here too. But I definitely am still not producing enough scrap to be able to run that thing indefinitely. But you know, hey, I'm not infinite energy either. And plus, you know, I need the scrap to make some other stuff. Ooh, come to think of it, that is for next episode. Tell you what, next episode. Yeah, why not? You know what? We got a ton done this episode. We got a ton done. I mean, just look at this room. This is beautiful. We got all this stuff. It's just beautiful. It's useful. And it's going to help me get UU matter and some pretty awesome things that I didn't have. And so, you know what? That's it. That's it for this episode. In the next episode, I'm going to play around this room a bit more, get some UU matter, turn it into something useful, and that'll open a door for some other projects. And in between episodes, I'm going to go mining before I do any of that junk, alright? Thank you very much for watching. You know, hit the like button, and, you know, stay tuned. See you next time. Bye! Down in the UCB. Down in the UCB. Building crap in my UCB. Taking damage in the UCB.